I'm here to discuss my experience with the Joe Dispenza retreat that I went to a little over a month ago over at the Gaylord in Grapevine, Texas. The 7 day retreat was absolutely mind-blowing. I actually did the progressive online course, which was about 24 hours of content. You had, about six meditations. So in total, it could have been about 30 total hours of content that you would need to consume, but about 24 hours of lectures that you would need to digest. So that way you're not going into the retreat and being completely overwhelmed with all the information that Joe Dispenza is sharing, which by the way, this is something that I really have to give a shout out to Dispenza's team about in the way that he runs these events. First of all, first day you show up at like 6 p.m. He talks for a couple hours. But basically, that's in preparation to prepare you for the rest of the week so that way you know what to expect to some extent. Because you can't have an entire schedule, and we all had a good laugh about this. You can't have an entire schedule for the week, which a lot of people were looking for unless you've been there before and you know. But even myself, I'm like, I don't know what to expect. Do they have like a calendar? Do they have a schedule? Whatever. The only thing that you knew what to expect is that you're going to show up every day at 6 a.m. And that's what time he's going to get started. We usually start at, he'll come out and talk for 20, 30, 45 minutes or something, and then we go directly into a meditation. The only exception to that was Saturday morning, where we did a 5 hour meditation at 4 a.m. And the cutoff was 4 a.m. on the dot. If you got there a couple minutes late, sorry, you're not going to be able to get in because you can't come in and start disturbing people, trying to step over people, trying to find your seat and everything like that. So that 5 hour meditation, by the way, that might seem overwhelming. But once you start to understand what Dispenza is teaching, and I'm going through the time space chapter right now on becoming supernatural. Once you understand what he teaches in the time space and space time lecture, what he covers here in the book, and you understand that there is no time and there is no space. We only see that with Newtonian physics. We see that with if there is a goal that you have for yourself, a goal that you have in mind, a target that you want to hit for this month, this year, 5 years, whatever, you're putting space in between where you are and where you want to be, which would require time, right? If you want to have a Lamborghini, for instance, that costs $300,000, and right now you only have $40,000 in your bank account, well, you start immediately going into the how. How am I going to make the extra $260,000 to get $300,000 to buy this car? Well, it would require me to do this, X, Y, Z, which would require me to do it in X amount of time. Are you with me? So, if that's the case, then that means what you're doing is you are trying to change matter with matter. You're still stuck in three-dimensional reality. And three-dimensional reality is determined by the five senses. So in order to connect with the unified field, the quantum field, pure consciousness, fifth dimension, then you have to become no body, no one, no thing, no where, and no time. Because right now the five senses, three-dimensional reality, are plugging you into three-dimensional reality. I apologize. And that's where you are somebody, someone, something, somewhere, and sometime. But once you go in, and as it's described in the Bible, to go into your private room and close the door behind you. What that's saying is to go within, close your eyes, shut off the five senses, close the door to the conscious mind, and go within and pray to your Father in private. So go within and connecting with the unified field with consciousness, and you will be rewarded openly back here in three-dimensional reality again. So 2 years ago, I discovered Neville Goddard. I also discovered what the true meaning to the Bible is, also the tablets of Thoth and the Hermetic principles, and started, doing compendiums and, comparing things together so that way it could make sense for me because whether or not you can agree or whatever your religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs are, there's one thing that I believe that nobody can deny, and that there's something more. There's something else missing. I've gone to church my entire life. I've been to all the seminars. I've read the books. I've done the courses. I've got the mentors. I've done the coaching. I've walked fire. I went to the Dispenza retreat and done the meditations. There's something else missing. And when I got to the Dispenza retreat, the first thing that Joe Dispenza said, or one of the first things that he said on the first night that he came out and started talking to us was, he said that you're here because you know that there's something more. There's something more to life or why you're here. There's something else missing outside of just your normal life and what you're being taught in the church or from your coaches or from your parents or whatever. There's something else missing. We have this intuitive search within us to find the truth of who we really are and the possibilities of our existence, like what we're truly capable of. And I believe that every single person watching this video, every single person in the world believes that they're capable of achieving more in their life, but still we put space in between us. And if there's space in between us for me to go to here to walk across the street, that will require time. So we're still stuck in these Newtonian physics, in this Newtonian world, instead of going to a place, going within to where you're connected to everything, to everybody, everywhere, everyone, in every time. Pure consciousness, connected with the unified field. And the part of the book that I'm reading right now is the Bell experiment, where it talks about you have relativity through Einstein, where he believed that if you fire one photon this way, that the other one, or we could go, to the moon, stay here in Earth, right? We got one photon here, one photon at the moon. And what would happen is if we launched that photon to the moon, to Mars, that it would take time because there's space in between the Earth and the moon. It would take time for that photon to communicate to this photon here on Earth. Are you following? Because there's space in between Earth and time in the three-dimensional reality. And it would take time to communicate to this photon to also do the same, to shoot away and go to wherever, right? But what they found in the Bell experiment is that whenever they fired one photon that was at a different distance in a different place from one another, away from the other photon, that they both left simultaneously. One did not need to communicate to the other to say, hey, I'm taking off, and then the other one took off. When they fired the photon away, the other one followed suit, which means that there is no separation. It's quantum entanglement. So this basically proves, along with the double slit experiment or the paradox, or the observer's paradox, that we're literally living in a simulation, but it's our brain and our body that plugs us into three-dimensional reality through the five senses. So again, when you sit down in meditation, when you go into your private room and you become no body, no one, no thing, no where, and then no time, and you can no longer feel, see, taste, hear, smell, then you're no longer the body. You're no longer someone. You're no longer the self. You're just the mind connecting to the unified field. You're connecting to pure consciousness. You're connecting to source. You're connecting to God. And now, coming back to that 5 hour meditation, that 5 hour meditation did not feel like 5 hours. It felt like two, maybe two and a half. And it was in that moment whenever I woke up or I didn't wake up, but I came to and I looked at my phone and it was a couple minutes past 9 in the morning. I was absolutely like I couldn't explain it because I thought that it had only been a couple of hours. And then it was in that moment that I realized that this is what Joe Dispenza has been talking about. is that we plug into this world and we're always trying to, practice faith, setting up goals and stuff like that. But truly, we don't understand that everything is connected. I and the Father are one. I and my Father are one. There is no separation between you and your ideal self, between you and what you want, between you and your ideal life, between you and God. They, for behold, do not look here nor there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you, not outside of you. Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your what? Of your mind. Going within, becoming no body, no one, no thing, nowhere, and in no time, connecting to everything, everyone, everybody, everywhere, and in every time. We literally, by thoughts, because all thought carries frequency and all frequency carries information, by thought, we literally are sending a signal out. And through our feeling states, as Neville Goddard talked about all the time throughout all of his books, is that it's through our feeling states that we attract things into our life. So unless you change your thinking, then you're not going to be able to change your life. As a man thinketh, so is he, right? So Joe Dispenza also talks about that we're in this cycle of thinking and feeling and thinking, thinking and feeling and thinking. So when you have a thought and it produces a chemical reaction into the body that produces a feeling, that feeling, if you're pissed off at your wife because she said this, all of a sudden that one thought turns into a cascading effect of an onslaught of different scenarios that you're running through in your mind. Have you ever been driving to work and you just showed up to work and you didn't even think about the drive? That's because you conditioned the mind to become the body. You were unconscious, you were in alpha state, you were just daydreaming. But have you ever been driving there and you're just on autopilot driving to work and you're just in your mind, like your mind is gone and you're daydreaming and you're thinking about random stuff. You're thinking about the scenario when you get into work and you see your coworker that sent out the email to your boss talking crap about you. And as soon as you get into work, how you're going to go off on them and you're going to give them a piece of your mind. You went through this whole scenario of what's going to happen. You walking through the door, you going into the office, you seeing that person and what you're going to say directly to them, what they're going to say back to you, what you're going to say to them. Next thing you know, y'all are throwing hands. Like you went through this entire scenario in your mind, and that those thoughts produced a feeling. And those feelings are drawing experiences to you. So Joe Dispenza talks about the breath. When you're moving energy from the lower centers to your crown and to the eighth and above, which is about 16 inches above where your crown center is, your seventh center. So here at our base energy center, our base chakra, our root chakra, once you move the energy through those first three centers, or which are for procreation and survival, then you get into the heart. And at your base chakra, your base energy center, your first energy center is a negative charge. So when you move and you contract those intrinsic muscles and you move that cerebral spinal fluid up and you get it out of the first three energy centers, which is where procreation and survival are. And you get into the heart and move it into the throat, to the pineal gland, to the pituitary, and into your crown, or I'm sorry, throat, pineal, and then crown. Then what happens is you're taking a negative charge and meeting it with a positive charge. And when you have a negative and a positive charge, I was looking for the example that I was going to show you. When you have a negative and a positive charge together, what do you have? A magnet. You have the electromagnetic field that surrounds your body, right? So if the thought sends the frequency out and your thought is of abundance and joy, of already being healed, then you're producing that feeling within you. And then that feeling creates an invisible electromagnetic field that's drawing that life and that experience to you. So, in order to change those feelings, you have to change your thoughts because what you're thinking about is producing that feeling, and that feeling is drawing that experience to you. But 95% of everything that we say, do, and think is unconscious. It's from the thoughts that we had the day before, if you're around the ages of 35 and older. Like all of your beliefs and habits and everything are just, they're unconsciously conditioned into the body. Again, like when you're driving to work, did you really have to think about driving to work? Do you have to think about tying your shoes? Do you have to think about brushing your teeth? Do you have to think about wiping your butt when you go poop? No, you don't have to think about these things because we've conditioned the mind to become the body. So the question is, if 95% of everything you say, do, and think is from the day before, then how do you truly change? I mean, really think about that. Your future now simultaneously becomes your past because we're always thinking the same thoughts and doing the same things that we did the day before. Really think about that. When you woke up this morning, was it the same as you did the day before? When you brushed your teeth, did you hold it with your right hand, the toothbrush? You pulled the toothpaste out? How did you do that? Did you turn the right part of the faucet on before the left or the left before the right? It's the same stuff every single day that we're doing. So now our future becomes our past. So the question is, how do you truly change? And the only way to change is that you have to change the way that you think. You have to become conscious of the unconscious. And the only way to do that is to become no body, no one, no thing, no where, and then no time. Become pure consciousness. Because now you have bypassed the analytical mind. You're no longer thinking and being. And the mind connecting, the consciousness connecting to the unified field where all possibilities exist, you're able to download information from the quantum realm. And that's why people have miraculous healings. Why people can come in, and I saw it for myself with two elderly people that look like they've been wheelchair bound for years. Started walking and the walking meditations. We did the coherence healings. I got to hear the people's testimonies that were there. I felt the energy next to the people that were beside me, in front of me, and all in the room, the space between the space. I became aware of the energy that's in the room with my eyes closed. I felt my heart opening up and I felt the energy. It's hard to explain, but the field that we were creating around this person so that way they could be healed. And my friend said that the healee that they did their first coherence healing on, whenever she came out of the meditation and the coherence healing was done, she said that every cell in her body felt like it was kissed. Because when you connect to the heart, you connect to the unified field, and you start downloading information, and people are around you sending their love and their energy to you, you're going to start experiencing physical movements and bodily convulsions from that energy. That's because you're not particle, you're not matter, you're energy and your wave. Everything is energy, and all energy carries, or all energy carries information. All frequency carries information. And that's why frequency can change matter. So that's why people have these profound healings, is because they're changing the information in every cell in their body. That information is being changed from the unified field, a field that we cannot see, we cannot experience, we can't feel it. You have to experience it by going within. So, anyways, I hope that that wasn't a little all over the place, but there's a lot of things over the past couple of years that I've been trying to compile and put together and condense to be able to explain to the average audience. So that way the average audience can understand. Like if I was speaking to myself 3 years ago, that myself 3 years ago would be able to understand what I'm talking about now. So, from this point on, I just want to make sure that I'm staying consistent and I'm brain dumping what I know and what I have learned here for y'all. Everything in my life has been changing dramatically this year. And things have, I don't want to say things have gotten easier. I feel like, to some extent, things have gotten harder, but I understand why. Things have gotten harder because I have changed. I'm not thinking the same way. I'm not doing the same way. I'm not being the same way because I'm downloading new information from the field where all possibilities exist. So even my habits, everything that I do, like the way that I wake up, my habits before and after waking hours, like reading every single day, meditating every day, um, scripting with gratitude journaling, like it's just a part of my being now. So when you change your concept of self, when you become that person that you envision in your mind's eye, like you really embody them, you feel as if that you're already them. Then what happens is you start thinking differently and you start doing differently. And if you start thinking and doing differently, then your life is going to change because you're no longer the same person. You're no longer that limited self that you were X amount of time ago. So, but it all starts again with changing the way that you think. You have to die to yourself. You have to pick up your cross. And um, I hope that this video and what I have to share through my own experiences and the investments that I've made in myself really are able to contribute to the greater good because we're not we're not alone. We're all connected to some extent. And I know for a fact that the reason that I'm here is to contribute. I'm here to serve. To whatever extent that may be, I'm here to contribute and show other people the way, to show them the truth and that you are the life. You are your own way out. And I'm just here to help you along. So, anyways, see y'all later.